And we're back with some more Dyson Sphere Program. First off is just what you want to roll for, and usually what you want to do is get your hands on a few of these O-type stars. They're the brightest stars there are, so having some near enough to your starting area where you don't have to travel too far is pretty decent. As well as that, find out where your black hole is. If it's going to be really awkwardly somewhere on the edge of the map, no, R1 is fine. R1 is right over there. It's actually reasonably close by. So having your black hole and some of your O-type stars near you is good. You can only get one black hole. Then you want to start up the game. When the game starts up, you're going to have to go through this annoying animation. Just hit escape immediately. Hit skip prologue. That'll just jump you straight down the planet.
This is Icarus.
Oh, shut up. I've heard him a lot recently. Sorry. Anyway, first thing you want to do is you want to right-click on this. It will allow you to deconstruct it. Another thing you might want to do is install a few mods to make your life a little bit simpler. The first mod I installed is this one down here that allows you to speed up time. That makes things much faster. Then what you're going to want to do is immediately go into research, grab electromagnetism, queue that up. We're also want to queue up electromagnetic matrix. Under upgrades up here, we're going to want to queue up universe exploration. So just to cover those three again, electromagnetism, you have to do this one, it's the first one. Electromagnetic matrix, which is the second one. Then go to upgrades over here.
You can hold down mouse middle
go over to the top
to rotate that.
And select universe exploration. Queue up all three of those. They are very important. And the next thing we want to do is, well, basically, build them. You can hit the F key, or you can hit the replicator button over here. And we want to go in and we want to build 10 of these. So we want to grab that, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It produces 2 at a time, so you don't have to do that many. Then while that's going on, we might want to grab ourselves some iron. There's some iron over there. We're going to start heading that direction. And you know what? We're going to harvest some trees along the way. In fact, we're also going to hit the C key. And we're going to dump in a few things here. First is the hydrogen fuel cells we managed to pick up. Second is the wood. And the last one is the leaves. Now our research is finished. And these 3 things have been researched. Namely, the mining, Tesla tower, and the wind turbine. They even give us one for free. So we can chuck one of these down and immediately
created a mining machine to
immediately chuck it down on the ore.
The R key.
Immediately chuck it down on the ore. You want to try and get as many as you can. If you hold down shift and ore, you can rotate it gradually and slowly, and you can get yourself a really good setup. It's usually worthwhile to do it in your first miner to get really as many of these as you possibly can. There we go. Just look at that. Loads of them.
One of your production facilities is...
Then what you want to do is you want to grab your wind turbine that also was given to you for free and plop that down. Boom. Now this does not produce enough power. It only produces barely enough power to get this running. You'll see there it's at 71% efficiency. But that's fine. We don't mind so much. Then you want to immediately go in here and queue up another one of them. And actually, another wind turbine to go with it. That will give you another miner and wind turbine to get started. Oh, and you know what? We'll take some more of those resources while we're here. Next off, you want to find your nearest copper patch. You're always going to start with this little copper patch and this little iron patch wherever you land, but it would be nice if you could find a big copper patch nearby. Oh, I don't think we've got anything close by, unfortunately. This planet may be a dud start. We'll find out. Anyway, we will grab our next resource patch over here, which is going to be the copper. Bit of fiddling around, and we managed to get the entire thing covered. Then we want to stick down a wind turbine beside it. And boom, now we've got copper production. Once you've got additional copper incoming, what you can do is you can finally queue up another one of these. You need the copper to build another mining machine and another wind turbine. Then we've got access to these, and while we're waiting for the new miner and wind turbine to complete, why don't we try and see if we can't get ourselves in a nice little position in between the two of these. And what you can do is you can start harvesting the resources out of them. They only spit out about 50 resources. They can only hold 50 resources in the tank, so as long as we keep harvesting that, they keep spitting out more resources. Anyway, once our first miner is complete, you want to find your nearest source of coal. Seriously, where's our coal? That planet was a dud. There was no coal for miles around, and I was not trekking. Simplest thing to do is I just restarted and I found a planet that was slightly better. This one seems to be okay. We'll throw on a coal miner over here. We'll do the same thing again. We'll just stick down a power tower right beside it, or a wind turbine. Boom, now we've got coal. The coal we want to get our hands on because we can throw that in here, and then when we bring up the C key over here, we can get in this section and we can start chucking the coal in. It's just easier than running around harvesting trees. You're going to have this annoying problem of running out of power for your mecha down here, and this section in here is what you use to fuel it. It just saves you a whole bunch of hassle. Alright, with that done, we actually want to get started on this research that we queued up. So this electromagnetism requires these little items here. So we go straight back into F, or you press the little button down here to get into the replicator, and then we're going to queue up, well, 6, 8, 10, and this thing is also produced in 2, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. In fact, we're going to need some more of these, so let's make 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, another 10 of those afterwards. Alright, then while that's queuing up, we'll go grab ourselves some coal, we'll stock up on some more copper, and basically we're just filling our inventory with a bunch of resources. Ooh, can't quite reach that one, can I? Damn it, I thought I had the perfect positioning. Oh well, looks like we'll just have to live with copper and that and have to run back here for the coal. Once this research completes, we'll have access to blue science. Once we have access to blue science, we're probably going to want to queue some of that stuff up. You can just go down here and it basically shows up in your inventory menu now as something craftable, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 of them queued up. While we're waiting, let's go over one other thing. Keep an eye out for these rocks. They're lying around the place. These ones are much taller than all the rest. You can see these rocks over here. They're much smaller and flatter. These ones, if you mine them, just give you a little bit of stone. However, these ones, if you mine them, they give you a little bit of titanium ore. This could be very handy. You need some titanium ore before you leave the planet, and there's no naturally occurring titanium except inside those rocks. So as you're going around the map and as you spread out and expand, keep an eye out for those rocks. They're definitely very useful. Now, well, we wait for that to finish. Let's actually queue up a few other things. We're going to want some more of these. We're going to need that for the next things we're going to be researching. The reason we want to get this research is so that we can gain access to this vein distribution. If you look across the planet, we can't really see what resources are available.
In the planet view mode,
nothing is known to us. We can see how much construction area we have available, wind energy and solar ratio, but all the rest is hidden. Once this final research completes, we can then chuck that on there, and now we can see all of the resources on the map. So we can have a look around and see what's actually available to us. This lets you know if you're on a dud planet or not. You won't really get a dud planet per se. It will always have resources just in case of how far away they are. Now looking around here, we've definitely got iron, more iron over there, a third patch there, 3 coal patches over there. We're actually pretty decent, and we've got several oil wells and coal. Yeah, we've got everything we need near us. The only thing I'm worried about is stone. Stone looks like it's a little bit far away. We've got some stone veins over there. So this planet is definitely a keeper. We can keep this one. Alright. Now we go right back into research, and we're going to want to go into logistic systems up here. This allows us to get inserters, transport belts, and storage boxes. All 3 of these. Well, these are not inserters, they're sorters. We're going to queue that up. Then we're also going to want to get furnaces. Yep, and then we're going to want to get basic assembly processes. The furnaces are for smelting, and these are for just making things so that we don't have to manually make them constantly. Then the next thing up after that we're going to want is thermal power. All of these, thank you very much. Oh, and where is it? Yes, plasma refining here. We're going to go... Well, okay, we'll get to that later, once we get these basics out of the way with. When it comes to crafting cogs, they only actually produce 1 at a time, and I've just set them here to make in batches of 10. And then we're also going to need a whole bunch of processors to go with it. Fortunately, we have a bunch of those on hand already. We made some preemptively, because of course we did. You know what? We're going to make a few more. We're going to need them for later as well. Well, all of that research has been going on. I've been going around collecting coal, the odd bits of copper and iron, and there we go. Basic logistic systems are complete, giving us access to these 3. We even get a few little freebies here in terms of transport belts.
the conveyor belt.
Importantly, we also can build these little storage containers. Now, to build those storage containers, you're going to need to get your hands on some stone. We don't have any nearby, so what we'll do is we'll just grab some from these rocks. These rocks are easy, they're close by, and they'll give us just enough stone to make a few of these. What we want to do is pop in here and make 4 of them. And at the same time, I think we've got just about enough transport belt, but let's put on a couple more of those, and we should have enough sorters. Then what we want to do is pop over to all 3 of these and put a little transport belt on the end of them. Just out like this.
A conveyor belt.
Then we just chuck on one of these right beside it, say, put you right there. Grab a sorter.
The sorter is a
Done.
Transportation connector of
Oh, damn
cargoes
it.
between facilities.
One moment while we just move the power supply just a little bit closer.
And the
Done. Then we'll just set this to about there. This is just a handy way to stockpile some of this ore for later, because we can't always be hanging around here. Then, well, we're going to go around and set those up and all that, but while we're waiting, we're also going to queue up some more stuff in our inventory. So we're going to need about another 10 of these. And we've got the processors already, and that should knock out the next section of research. Alright, that gives us smelters. Smelters is great, but without the accoutrements to go with it, not really much we can do. We need the basic assemblers as well. So, let's queue up the rest of the resources we're going to need, which is a whole bunch more cogs. Oh, wait, that was a little bit too many. It already comes in 10s, I forgot. And 2, 4, 6, another few processors there to add on to it. While that's happening, we're going to start stockpiling some more coal. Alright, we are almost finished that research, and we can start getting on to automating production of things. There we go. We finally got the assembler completed. Alright, well now it's time to put together ourselves a little science facility. The whole plan here, the whole goal, is to get through the research and get into planetary logistics. This basically gets rid of the need for a whole bunch of transport belt shenaniganry. It makes just life so much simpler, and all you need for this is red and blue science. That's all you need to get it out of the way with. Interstellar science is great, but this one's far simpler, far faster to attain, and we can get that much quicker. Normally I would go around and start setting up a mall about now, but you know what? We're better off. From testing I found it was just better off going straight for the science and then putting in the mall afterwards, because you can construct things pretty fast in your inventory. Next up, we are going to immediately get thermal power. Now, I've played around with this in a few ways. You can go into mass wind, but that's just a real painful way to do things. Instead, what I prefer to do is just grab this and immediately start producing them. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And once that's produced, we can actually hook this up to coal. We're going to pop over here, we're going to hook it up to the coal section, and that's going to allow us to generate more than enough power to get our early production started, and that's all we really care about. Once we get our early production up and running, we don't really mind. We'll also be switching into oil for a power source later. So let's just crank this up to speed 3 and let that finish off. It shouldn't take much time at all at this rate. Oh, the speed mod will be linked in the description if you want to get your hands on it. With thermal power completed, we immediately should get a free one. Yeah, normally they give you a free one whenever you research something. So we'll pop that down. Ooh, actually, that's annoying. We're going to end up going across that line there. I'd rather not, but hey, this is just a fast and brutal way of getting where we want to go as quickly as we possibly can. So we'll stick one of those there.
A thermal power station.
Put one of theirs down there.
Such power facilities need to consume chemical energy fuels.
Go away.
If you
Dear
want
Lord,
to
I've heard him so much today, it's crazy. Anyway, we grab this, put that in, we'll do 2 of them, and that's 2.16 megawatts of power. Perfect. That starts charging everything. You can go down there. We're just going to queue up a few of the basics we're going to need, just to tide us over until the power kicks in. For that, we're going to need a few more of these transport belts, a couple more assemblers actually, or sorry, sorters, and then we're going to probably grab one more mine and feed it all into this power system. So we stuck on a third miner there to feed into this. Oh, and I've still left this here so that we can refuel on coal whenever we need it for our mecha. Mecha's doing... yeah, they're fine. Then what we do is we build a whole bunch of these. Well, we've queued up a whole bunch of them. They do take a little bit of time to build, and it does need a lot of stone. So if you need to go around and grab some more stone, I did some always in the background. I normally pick some up as I'm wandering around. That's fine. And then we'll put this down here. We'll put one there. And then we just sort of spread them out like that along the way as they get constructed. One thing I like to do is put 2 inserters on the front, then you can stick one behind it and have that feed off the front one. So you can daisy chain them along. With slow inserters like this, I try not to do more than 2 though. 2 is usually plenty, one after the other. Works out kinda okay. I think 11 megawatts will cover us for a little bit of time. Now that that's all completed and we've got ourselves a stable power source, next thing we're going to want to do is put together a few of these power towers. These, Tesla towers. We just want to link the grid together so that everything's tied to the same grid. Should make everything a little bit faster. Then after that is done, we're going to want to get into making, well, a couple of assembly machines, a couple of smelters, and if we don't have them already, a few of these, and actually a little bit of transport belt. That should get us started on the next section, which is putting together a little transport belt facility. All the Tesla towers in place, we now have one continuous grid all the way around, though honestly our base is still very tiny. Next up, we're going to want to grab 2 smelters, and we're going to stick them right here beside this iron ore. And
You built a smelter, which can smelt.
Probably should build some extra transport belt to go with that. Once we have a couple of steel plate smelters going, actually, we should probably give them power to get them started. Boom, they'll start smelting steel plate. Then we just grab ourselves one of these 2 assembly machines. Oh, that's a bit too close, I think. Right about there should be fine, and another one right about there. This is going to be very straightforward. This here is
without recipe.
This here is going to produce the conveyor belt Mark 1.
You have a
This building over here gets to be set to gears, and then we just hook them across to each other. So this provides iron plate for the gear machine. Gear machine spits out the gears. Gears get spit into this machine, which get used to make the transport belt. And then we get the conveyor belt. Then we're going to have that all spit out into a chest. Done.
You built a storage.
Then we have that feed into that. We're going to double feed them because the way this works out, it can't quite spit them out fast enough, and we're going to double feed that into there and seal it up. This is just to prevent us having to make so much transport belt. If you don't do this, you're going to end up making an awful lot of transport belt along the way, and it probably becomes the most tedious of all the things you're going to produce. Usually everything else you produce in less quantities. Well, that's enough playing around. That's provided us with a solid power supply, a little bit of copper, and, well, mostly this transport belt. But that is the last of the manual research we'll be doing. That's all we need to get ourselves started. From now on, we're going to automate the research process. So, over here I'm thinking it looks nice and flat. Let me see, yeah, it looks pretty good. We'll go along this direction. This down here is the equator, and we sort of want to go parallel to that so we're not crossing over these lines too much. If you do that, you get problems where the belts don't flow too clearly or too straight. So yeah, let's stick in a little let's stick in a little science research facility right here. To get our science started, we're going to need a few things. First up is going to be a couple more miners. We're going to need those. Then we're going to want furnaces. We're going to want what? 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 6 furnaces. Make that 7. Why not? We might as well have an extra one going. We're probably going to want couple more assemblers, and then on top of that we're going to want, well, yeah, about 15 of those should be fine, and then we're going to need some transport belt on top of that. Luckily we've got a chest over here containing already 100 and something of it. And let's grab some more iron ore while we're here. We'll also grab some copper ore while we're here, and we'll grab ourselves just a little bit more coal to keep ourselves fueled up. We are pretty much going to constantly keep our build queue full of stuff to be produced in the background. Alright, with that started, let's put down our miners here first to start, and we can start refining our iron ore into magnets and iron plate. Before we go any further, I am using the Dyson Sphere calculator to work out exactly how much of these buildings we're going to need. This is a very, very handy little tool, so if you don't have it already, link in the description. This here is where we're going to start our little production facility for science. Just the basic science. Now, we'll grab a little furnace here, and we'll throw 3 of them in a row. Their job is to make magnets. That's it. Yep, that's great. Stop telling me that. I swear to God, I gotta find the mod that allows me to shut that guy up. It drives me crazy. After you've heard him a few hundred times, it starts to get on your nerves. We will copy those in all across there. Then we're going to put an output belt on the other side. That's going to go down that way. Then we're going to put 2 smelters over this side. But these ones, different purpose. Their job is to make iron plate. I like to plug these in early before they're hooked up to anything else, just so that they start stockpiling. After these fill up, they'll hold 100 iron ingots, which we can come back and nick every so often. Also, this will hold 100 magnets, which we can also nick every so often. It's just a nice way to stockpile a few things. We'll be back here occasionally to raid them for supplies. But these are going to get fed into our science facility once we throw in some more copper. Actually, do we have any more mines? Oh, damn it. You know what, we don't need that much copper for this. Well, we're going to put in copper and one more copper mine and a couple of smelters for copper plate. There we go. A little bit of copper goes in here, spits out copper ingots the other side. That comes down here, and we're going to start merging them together to make the 2 things we need to make science. And those are, as just a quick refresher here, we're going to need some magnetic coils, and we're going to need some circuit boards. And all it requires is just a few things here and there. Now, let's see. We'll grab one of these. Now, we just need 1. We're aiming for about 90 science per minute because that's actually more than enough for our needs. That will go like that, and we just need to put copper plate and the magnets in here. And would you look at that, we have actually, maybe that's a little bit long. You know what? Let's just have that run into right there. Should make things nice and close by, and, well, we are using these very slow sorters, so it'd be preferable to have everything beside these. It's just that these things, if they have to stretch more than 1 or 2 tiles, they start to slow down quite a bit, and it's not very fast. Alright, next up we're going to put another machine here, and this one is going to do our other setup, which is green circuits, or what are they called? Circuit boards. That just takes iron plate and copper, and what do you know, we've got copper right there, and we've got iron plate over this side. So we'll bring iron plate down. In fact, we only need half the iron plate as we do copper, if I recall. What is it? Oh, actually 2 iron plate. 1 second, in that case we will put 2 of those there, and we will put 1 from copper in here, and then I think over here we're going to bring out the magnets, so all of these will come out on this belt, and then we'll have 1 more belt over here. This one here will bring out the green circuits. Quick bit of power, and we're now producing the 2 ingredients we need for those science labs. Did I produce a bunch of science labs? Nope, I forgot to, and I don't have any stone. Well, then we'll run around and grab some stone. This is... yeah, I really should have thought of that, shouldn't I? There's a lab. And you know what? We'll stick a couple more labs on top. We can go up to 3 with just the basic research, and then we'll put another... nope, I think there's some more still creating. Then what we do is we create science here. Yeah, we're going to want those blue. And we just stick in a few inserters. Now, we need about 4.5 of these to keep up with our production, because we only have 1 of these each. And as well as that, we're not going to need to expand this too much later on, but I am going to put in 2 layers of these, because of course we are. To speed up the production of labs, I maybe nicked some of the magnets off there, some of the... get the circuit boards off there, and some copper and iron plate. You see that these things store up quite a bit of this stuff, which is actually quite handy for us. But anyway, most of those should be constructed now. We'll just stick them down there. Another one right there. I just want to know exactly how big we're going to need to build that. We'll get the rest of this stuff in a bit. There we go then. A couple of inserters on each of these just to feed the science in. Done. And make sure it doesn't go beyond. Some power would be nice. One about there should be perfect. Boom. Alright. Oh, 2 more inserters are required. And of course I don't have one made. 1 second. There we go. The blue science has started to flow. We just have to tell these two, hey, you, start making science, would you? Science selected. Now all we have to do is go and grab the science we want. Now, normally the simplest thing to do would be probably grab these. I like to grab these first because you get a few sorter Mark IIs. They're going to be handy. I also like to grab this because it gives us energetic graphite. We're going to want that. But the one thing we really want to get our hands on is this plasma refining. So we're going to in-queue that, in-queue U, and we're going to in-queue U. In fact, at this point, we're just going to start in-queuing everything, namely because we can. At 90 science per minute, this should work out at. We should be able to fly through all of the basic sciences pretty fast. And there's a few things over here I'd like to knock out while we're here. We probably should have got that a while ago. It only requires 20 iron plate and 20 copper, which we've easily got on hand. And these will make us go a little bit faster. Always nice to have. And where was the last one? You know what? The queue is now full. We'll worry about that in a bit. So let's just fast... Oh, you know what? Let's cover the bits we want to get done on the side. How's our power looking? Oh, hasn't quite ramped up yet. We're still waiting for production to really kick off. Last minute, only 43. That should max out at 90 though. That might take a few moments. As you can see, the research is coming in fairly fast so far. I'll check to see if we have any bottlenecks in a minute. That gives us splitters and it gives us sorters Mark IIs, and we even get 5 ones for free, which is perfect. Next up, we'll be getting into oil. We basically want to get oil so we can tap into these oil wells that are all over the planet. There's quite a few of those oil wells around the place. What is it? We've got 30 oil in total.
The planet view mode.
Yeah, that's great. That 30 oil we can turn into power, and it's just a renewable form of power. I don't want to stay on this coal for very long. There's plenty of coal on the planet for our early game needs, but as it gets later in the game, we don't want to be destroying all of that to make power, especially since oil is just infinitely renewable. The moment we get smelting done, the first thing we want to do is get our hands on some energetic graphite. That stuff is pretty handy, especially for what we want it for, powering our mecha. It's just more energy dense, and it gives us more energy in general, so why not? Oh. Yeah, we want to stick in a power pole, say right about there. And limit that to a reasonable size. We don't want it too big. That's going to take a little time to build up in the background. We're not going to be able to completely replace our power supply just yet. While we are waiting for some of the researches to finish, we're going to go find ourselves some stone. We want to tap into that and start using it. I believe there's some stone veins over there, and I think that's the closest one. We're going to pop over there and maybe slap ourselves down a quick refinery and some storage tanks, just because. One mildly annoying thing as you go along is you need to do this research, which requires 60 electric motors. So you sort of have to stop and manually craft a bunch of these just to finish off that tech. It's just an annoyance, nothing more. And while we're here, yeah, you're also going to want to do this one here, plus 200k to mecha fuel power. Just requires coal, wood, and some energetic graphite, which we just so happen to have on hand. Alright, and then we can go back to technologies here and basically just start hammering through, well, everything. We're going to grab energy matrix, basic fuel refinement, where is it? Yep, these things. So, solar panels as well. Oh, not crystal smelting. We can't do crystal smelting. We don't have red. Oh, steel. We're also going to want that. And that's pretty much most of them. There's a few other ones here we're going to get. Oh, yeah, that's also required. We're going to knock out all of those, and then once we get stone sorted, we're going to immediately go to the second level. Or we're going to get stone sorted, then power, and then we're going to immediately grab the second tier of science. Oh, slightly faster movement speed on the mecha. That's always good. However, I still prefer this time speed up thing. There's no real risks of dying on this map, so yeah, being able to speed up time just makes this game so much simpler. But where were we? Yes, we're going to put in some furnaces here. While we wait for the furnaces to build, we're just going to install some power. Now, when it comes to setting up power here, there's some fun things you can do with these wireless transmission towers. They actually have quite a decent range on them. They are a little bit more expensive, and they do cost a little bit of power to use. However, what you can do is, this was recommended in the comments,
you built a wireless power tower.
Put down one of them, and then make your next one just a normal tower. And then you can make the next one another wireless transmission tower. It just helps you cut down on the distances you have to use them on. It makes it really handy. Let's go right back over here and set ourselves up our furnaces. We should have them produced by now. And there we go, stone sorted. This is just going to make us some stone brick, which gets chucked in here. That stone brick is always useful for us doing some of the later buildings, and this is going to give us glass, also useful for some of the later buildings, and this is just going to pile up some stone in case we ever need it. And all of it comes out of these mines over here. Done. Very simple setup. Oh, and we're probably going to want to take some of that glass right away. First thing we're going to want to do is start pumping out some oil extractors. Oh, steel. Well, we're going to need steel as well to go with that. The reason we want oil extractors, power. Steel production, incredibly simple. We just pull it off the line, pull the iron ore off the line, turn it into iron ingots. Iron ingots get turned into steel in this, and then the steel gets dumped into this container. Done. Now, one thing I forgot to do over here was, when it came to these, I had this out here. It's 2 tiles away from this, so we had to put 2 output and sorters to get the science out fast enough. With only 1 output, it wasn't actually able to get the science out of the building quick enough to send it down to these labs. Bit of an annoyance, but we're now back up to full production. In fact, yeah, it's catching up on the backlog of resources that were there, but it should stabilize around 90 when the time comes. And our power is looking... Ooh, we don't want that to go much higher. The reason we don't want that to go much higher is because if we draw more power than we can use...
The data shows this is a planet.
If we draw more power than we can use, then what'll happen is these will stop beating themselves. As in, the inserters or the sorters here won't get enough power, so we'll stop getting power entirely. So I think what we'll do is we'll throw on an extra one of these just right here for now, just to tide us over. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get straight into oil so we can start boosting our power production. We have headed to the top of the map where there's an oil well. Also, we're still hammering out all the research in the background. How are we looking? We're doing a lot, though. Why is we at 66 consumption? You know what? Don't care. Don't care at all. We're still hammering through the research at a ridiculous rate. And oh god, I forgot to bring transport belt with me. This is how I like to tap into the oil wells. We grab 4 of these power things. Well, we don't really need 4 for this, but I like consistency. You need about 1 power plant for every 0.5 production of crude oil. And then all we do to kickstart this, because it's not actually hooked up to our main grid just yet, we'll just stick 100 wood in there, or 100 plant food, whatever. That starts up the oil well starts pumping oil, and then the rest of them can start getting powered on. That plant matter will go away after a while, we don't really mind so much. Then we can sort of string this back to base. In fact, I think we'll string it past these oil wells down here, right about there, and that will give us 3 oil wells and a whole bunch of power to work with. There we go, that's about another, that's about 5 kilowatts of power on the grid, of sustainable power. It can burst a little bit if we need it. This will backlog up in a bit once because we're not using all the power currently. Well, that is once we plug it into our grid, but there's another oil well over there. Let's go plug that into the system too. And there we have another bunch of thermal power plants plugged in. With all of that, that should definitely boost up our grid an awful lot. Where are we? We are over there, I want to say. Let's go plug this sucker into our main grid, and in fact, we're going to plug in a couple more oil wells. You do not want to run out of power using this method. I chose this method instead of wind and solar because wind just takes an awful lot of time to do, and solar, we will be using solar in a while, but for now we're not going to get into it because it's just too time consuming, takes too long. You got to do one of those solar belts around the planet. It's exhausting. You know what? Let's just do this as quickly as possible. I want to get enough power ready to go to get into the second layer of tech and knock out all the second layer of tech while we're doing all that boring stuff like putting together a mall and putting together our power belt. There's another quick oil well with some more power. We really want to dump power onto here. We're going to need about 50 to 60 megawatts to be sure we're safe when we comes to our next level of science. And if we overdraw, what'll happen is these things will stall out. So that is bad. I think there is another oil well. Yeah, there's another oil well over there. Let's go tap that one as well. Actually, there's a few close to our base, but I want to leave them because they're the ones we're going to plug in for science. All right, let's move over this direction. And there we have another one. You know what? We'll probably stick... Oh, wow, there's 3 over there. Okay, we'll stick on those 3, but then we're stopping. This here will be our final additional power plant added on. This one is... Yeah, it's a little bit large, but there was method to the madness. We have 3 oil wells all along here, so now we can link all of them together. In fact, let's just have a quick turn on of the lights. You'll see there's an awful lot of oil coming down, and... Yeah, there's potential for 25 megawatts out of this. We will link this back to our main base down there, and we should be good to go. At that point, we can start moving on to the next science. Question is, can we get across this lake here? Oh, damn. Oh, no. Yeah, I don't think we can do that. Maybe some landfill. There we go. Fully connected all the way back. So that makes our power grid, yes. That makes our power grid, yes. We don't have to worry about ourselves running out of power anytime soon, and that was far less painful than doing solar or, belts of solar or wind. Alright, okay, time to do level 2 science. Actually, we are out of time, unfortunately. Went over the 30-minute mark. All of my faffing about kind of caught up with us. However, this time things went an awful lot better. I think we were 2.5 hours in almost before we even got into science the last time, or automating blue science. We spent so much time building a mall. This time we haven't built a mall, but we've knocked out all of the level 1 science, and we'll have level 2 science done before the 2-hour 20-minute mark easily. This should only take about 15-20 minutes to do level 2 science. Once that's done, we can then make ourselves an actual proper size mall. I really feel like we'll get into this a lot faster, and our planetary system here, I sort of want to make a very, very large Dyson sphere here. I know this is not the perfect star to do that. It's what's its brightness, or you know what, who cares? I want to make an enormous Dyson sphere, like just absolutely gargantuan just around this one. I figure why not? We'll stay here and just import resources from everywhere to make an enormous Dyson sphere. Well, that's the plan, unless something better comes along. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and good luck.